We're going to go ahead and open up the discussion. We're going to talk about something that was kind of disheartening today. I've been studying and I am a teacher. So in part of the professional development, there was this one part about, the hierarchy of needs and people reaching self-actualization. I'm going to do some more research on it, but only 1% of people get to that point. And it was quite disheartening. Self-actualization is when you open up and live your freest, fullest life. You know who you are, you're comfortable within yourself, but only 1% of people get to that point. So how can we do that? I want you guys in the top 1% of people. And Puerto Rican, Nisi, is that how I say it? And my 40, we'll call you 40. So good to have you guys here. Feel free to invite other people. Like I said, we're going to open up the discussion, but does a narcissist purposely hurt people? Why do we miss so many red flags? So let's say you and I were either friends or dating, and I ask you to do something, you really like me. So of course you're going to help me out. And over time, eventually, just like with the narcissist, you're going to come into these situations where you have to say no. Maybe it costs too much. Maybe you don't have the time for it. And that's when the true colors start to come out. So a healthy person will understand you're not at their beck and call. You'll do the best you can to be for them. Also, the reciprocity to where the favor is returned. A narcissist, it gets confusing because sometimes they seem like they are willing to help beyond, but they do that usually for a reason. And once you're in a close relationship with them, it's almost like they forget about you. And it's interesting, with the two becoming one and all these kind of things. Before I get into that, I was coming across this video, and I think there's some truth to it. They were doing all these famous people, and are they in alignment with each other? It was really interesting to see that if you draw like pictures with them and their mate, just the way their pictures were, was one leaning in and the other was upright. So they're not in alignment. And the pictures that I've seen, it kind of correlates with some of the knowledge that we have on these celebrities and their relationships. So what about you guys? Have you noticed anything like that? It was quite interesting. And you can also see who is the leader and the weaker person. And I got to do more research on that, but I just found it very interesting. Look at all these people joining. Good to have you guys. We are doing great. We have been in the top 100% every time I've gone live with you guys. So thank you guys for that. And that's based on the level of followers that I have. But I appreciate all the love and support. But feel free to let me know. We had a great discussion going on yesterday. I'd like to continue on. Logging in a little later than expected. I took a big long nap today. Still need to go back to sleep. I've been worn out. Got so many things to do. But I know a lot of us are struggling or ruminating, and even just in general life, even if you haven't dealt with a narcissist, there's a lot of things that are stressors, financial strain, getting over COVID, getting back into the workforce, or children at home that are kind of struggling in school, different things like that. So how's everybody's summer going? I am teaching summer school. Tomorrow is the last day until after next week. I get all of next week off, which is so needed. But you guys are great. I love having everybody here. And so do they purposely try to hurt us? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it's not so much that unless they want revenge. There's been some stories of, getting back together just to purposely break up with someone. There was a story of this guy who got back together with this lady for a full year just to discard her. He wanted to bring her in so he could hurt her. So that narcissistic injury can cause them to lash out. And, I see some people where they're so angry, and I understand the anger. Anger is part of the grief process, but we got to be careful not to have that change us, because a lot of people want to become narcissistic themselves. And if you deeply think about it, if you love that person, truly love that person, are we able to kind of let it go or be happy for them? They're on their way and you wish them the best life. But when we start getting that anger, we have to deal with that anger. And instead of turning it into something negative and destructive and out of character, that we stay true to ourselves, put that energy into something else. We got a lot of adrenaline going through our bodies. And yes, I encourage you guys to share with your friends. The more, the merrier. Hi, Jimmy and Marlene. Am I saying it the right way? But it was quite, like I said, disheartening. 1% of people get to that self-actualization. And when we're in a detriment, we're not growing. So if you're not getting the food that you need, the sleep like me, behind on sleep, or shelter, all those little stressors, we have to have the basics. And when we're kind of dealing with self-esteem issues, whether, we were hurt, trying to process what happened, feeling of inadequacy, we're not going to grow. And I want you guys to reach that self-actualization. We're going to bring it up to 2%, not 1%. A lot of people don't get to that point. A lot of people have that need to fit in instead of accepting that the right people will come to us. There's also a mind shift that you can do. It takes effort. For me, it took like believing in an higher power. It's up to you guys whether you believe in the universe or some of you want to be your own power. But it takes some of the stress off and it gives you a little bit of hope. And it's weird how that mind shift can bring you closer as opposed to self-sabotaging, because when we're in that anxious state, we're going to come across as anxious. So good to have you guys here. Chris, nice to have you guys. So some of the struggles, right now I'm going through something. I'll be 54 next month, and I do want to go back to school, get my doctorate in psychology. And there comes a point where, do we give up on our hopes and dreams, or do we pursue that? Part of me, I have so much schooling. I have like almost twice the bachelor's, some master's, and law school and cosmetology and nail tech. I got all these, and plus I have 5 certifications, all these different certificates, a hypnotist, certified trauma coach, on and on and on. Wally, good to have you here. Pursue it. This is the thing, is I want to do it. I really want to do it, and I'd be good at it, and I enjoy it. I want to retire too. So I'm on track. As long as I really, I just bought this house, but I'm trying to pay it off in 8 years. So I've been overpaying on my mortgage, and but you never know what your health is going to be like. And so I bought a lake house, and I just want to be here. I want to spend time with you guys, and yeah, I could be on track to retire in 8 years. Or I could go back to school. And, also I have a daughter, 2 grandkids, and, eventually we all die. And, I'd like to leave her whatever I could. And, the cost of going back to school, and I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do, because I'd like to. It's tempting. If it was free, I'd do it, but it's not. So where are my priorities? Are my priorities in myself? Because I can research, I can learn. I'd like it to bring it to other people. I am a life coach. I can meet with you guys, but it's sad that, I could sit here and study for the next 40 years. And unless you have that piece of paper, doesn't matter if you're the smartest person in the world, unless you go through those channels, which I think is wrong. Let us test. I'll prove you by test. Yeah, so I can see patients. Exactly. That is exactly why I want to do it. Yeah, it's just that little technicality. I'm I'm really good at self-studying. When I was in college, oh gosh, my bachelor's was kind of crazy to where I was studying, not quite sure what I wanted to do. I basically wanted to be a teacher, but it was really competitive back then for getting jobs as a teacher. I graduated in 1988. So it didn't look very positive. And so I was just kind of taking classes. And then I got into nursing school, which also was really challenging. So I was going through nursing school, passed everything, and then I was pregnant, almost miscarried my daughter during a lab where I'm rolling over a dummy. So I dropped out to have her, and then we moved across state. And by the time I came back, it was over 2 years. So I had to repeat everything. Only had 2 more classes, and they closed the school on me. So nothing matched up with my program, and I ended up getting my degree in criminal justice. But to do that, I needed language. I'm really good at language, but I took French and Spanish just because I like languages, but I needed a 3rd level. So I had 2, what did I have? I had 2 French and 1 Spanish. So technically I should have taken French 3. It was like the natural progression, but I ended up self-studying in 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks over Christmas break, and I was able to test out of Spanish too. So I'm good at self-studying. And Tony is here. Good to have you, Tony. I love all these people joining and showing the support. Hit that like button. Show me some love. But I don't know, Wally. Like I said, I'll be 54 by the time I graduate and put in 6,000 hours or whatever. You have to go on campus. I do have a dog. I don't know how much longer she's going to live. Hopefully forever. But, running back and forth to let her out. And then driving, through it's not really the biggest city, but it's a big city with traffic. And I'd be gone from 7 in the morning till 11 at night and, all that kind of stuff. So where did I go to college? Wayne State University, Detroit, Michigan. I went to 9 colleges. Like I said, I'm pretty much a goal-getter. I took 31 and 32 credits back to back because I just wanted to finish it. Graduated with 221 when you only need 120 credits. But the main one, the one I graduated from, was Wayne State University. I didn't even apply anywhere else. My brother was all excited. He went to U of M. He showed me his dorm. He was lucky enough to have his own dorm room because he was a resident advisor, but it was so loud and it just seemed so small. I'm like, no, I'd like to have my car. You couldn't have a car your first year. And yeah, I was a cheerleader there. I'll have to show you my pictures, the Crayola box cheer uniforms. We were that green and white. We looked like Crayola. They even had the same stripes, and it's a little different now. It was funny when I went there. They were the Tartars. They're the Warriors now, and I was so naive. I grew up way too sheltered, but I go there, and they're passing out the Tartar Times, and that's the name of the newspaper. But I thought it was for the dental lab or the dental school. And I'm like, oh, is this for the dental school? And they're like, that's so cute. And they thought I was being like sarcastic. I'm like, I didn't know. So a Tartar is a Mongolian warrior. Now they're just the Warriors and better cheer uniforms. But I like the old school cheer skirts. I don't like those straight ones. So yeah, that's where I went to school. I also thought, also as a kid, I wanted to be a psychologist. I told that little story about, always thinking like, how am I going to be? I'm very creative too. So I was like, how could I be creative, do something a little bit different? I had this picture of like this outside like sauna pool, and I could just sit there so my patients would be relaxed, and we would just have a session in the hot tub so they could be relaxed. So that was always a dream of mine. I love learning, but I don't like going to school. So I am a teacher though. Crazy. And then I would take what I don't like. This is what I don't like is I don't like wasted time. And when I was in school, I see so much wasted time lining up and waiting for others to be quiet. And then I would always finish my work early, and they didn't want you to work ahead. And I'm very quick at the things that I do. So it's just too slow paced for me. I was supposed to get into the International Baccalaureate program, but I had a lot of broken bones and illnesses. So a little upset. I was passing, my grades were high enough, but they didn't let me do that because of the missed school, which made me mad. You agree school is not very efficient as time goes. Yeah. I was an art teacher and trying to, just have the kids sit down and then clean up. It was How much teaching can you do? The transitions, kids always need time to settle down. It's better in high school. I'm very blessed with the kids I have. I teach English as a second language now. And I don't know how much of it is cultural differences, but I don't have a problem with these kids. I've had problems with my American kids, though, when I was teaching psychology. So Joseph is here. Good to have you guys. So that's a dilemma. I have some support. When I did that in podcast with Holly Schaefer, I did that recently, and her husband wrote a book about going back to grad school. And it is so tempting. It's so tempting, but financially, we gotta pick our battles. It kind of leave a little bit of a hole in my heart, but it's also like, I need to start living my life. I've always way overdone school. Like I said, 31, 32 credits, plus in between there, self-studying. Plus I passed out of another class. Your sister is a teacher. It takes a certain type to do this job. And it does. You have to be patient. There's all different kinds of techniques. And you really have to develop relationships with these kids. If you don't have that relationship, it's all going to go to pot. And each and every kid is different. It takes time to get to know them. And it's really opened my eyes about life. Some of the things that I need to handle differently. And, you have empathy, but you're also human. And it also gets very overwhelming. I used to be an aerobic instructor, dance instructor at Arthur Murray's, cheer coach, all that kind of stuff. But it is the most exhausting job that I've ever had. I took a nap today, slept for 4 hours, took a nap yesterday. I try not to. I've been staying up late with you guys, so that's part of it. But yeah, it's definitely demanding. And it's the only job I've ever seen people cry at. So there's a lot of crying, a lot of frustration. It is definitely hard on the teachers. It can be quite delusioning for sure. Yeah, I agree. Most definitely. And it's also, it gives you, like my channel is mainly on narcissism, mental illness, and it deals with, I see such a correlation with the mental state. Like a lot of it is just the mental state. Is our narcissist purposely trying to hurt us? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes they just want somebody to hang out with. They're human too. But it's that mental state that destroys the relationship. Why is it saying that? So, like you don't know when they're lying,